Thanks for joining us again. Today we want to look at a more commercial application of the Nomad V6HD. We're going to use a 105 in this application. You can, because of space down here, you could use a 135, and what it is actually a van used for either pilot work, courier work, or things like that. And the way we're going to set this up, so there's enough room for a pallet or an IBC in the front, IBC and pallet in the back, and then you've got the fridge, which I'm sitting on now. We're going to probably put that down the middle. So you've got that space there, and then you can use it as a seat or whatever, or just be able to remove it. So pilots, road pilots for the heavy haulage, we typically want to be self-contained. What we're going to do is we're going to run a 40 amp DC-DC off this here. We're going to run the DC-DC behind the cage, and that's the great thing about these. When you have a cargo cage like this, you can put everything behind the seat, which is dead space. You can put that behind there. You can put a fire extinguisher if you're carrying DG behind there, and other mod conduit needs. So all the cabling is going to run behind this cage, run up the poles with the conduit, etc., up to the top. We're also going to be running a 1500 watt or 2000 watt inverter, and that'll be pure sine, because we're going to be running things like, if I wanted to run my laptop or something like that, then it's not going to damage those sort of higher end accessories. We're going to run a microwave off that, probably around the 700 to 800 watt mark, and also an induction oven. So that'll be running at the top, because up here we've got cavity, where the door space will come down to that level, so you can still, if you're going to be loading with a fork, you can still do that. So this will enable a pilot or a courier or a delivery driver or something to be able to have an oven and a microwave, also a fridge, be self-supportive, be running at a 40 amp charge. That will also have a solar input. It'll also have a built-in VSR, which is a voltage sensitive relay. You would have heard us talk about that in one of the previous tutorials. And what that will do is detect when the battery is getting lower, and it'll cut out so that we don't drain the crank battery, which obviously in a commercial application, you wouldn't want it to be draining the crank. So what we're going to be doing over here in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, is we're going to be installing the cabling for the DC-DC 40 amp with solar input, and the solar panels will be on the roof. That will be charging at 40 amps. So if you're running a microwave for 6 or 7 minutes flat out at 700 watt, it's going to put that battery power back in very, very quickly if you don't have solar. So an hour's driving is going to probably put back everything. The induction oven itself will be 1224 volt. It won't run off 240, so we're going to use that as such. And because these have 100 amp output constant, we're going to run the inverter off the red and black poles there. So you'll be able to see the install sort of as it takes place over the next week, week and a half. If you have any type of van or pilot vehicle, etc., you can use these cavity spaces to put your accessories in. There's also cavities behind these here, the false walls. You can put, possibly, depending on what you've got, if it's a long wheelbase, short wheelbase, you might be able to put one of these behind a V6 behind there. You might even get a 200 amp hour behind there. But the 135s definitely would fit along here if you had the room behind one of these cages. So keep your eye out for it, but that's an application more commercial. If you've got a commercial vehicles or commercial fleet and you want to kit them out and have a power source, or a FOB or a forward operating base, electrical equipment and things like that if you're out in the field. So contact at nomadpdu.com.au if you want to have a look at some of the further applications we have in the commercial space. Give us a bell. So again,